Hello and peace to you. Today I want to read my article called Against Idol Worship. The subtitle is What are idols? What are the idols of today and how are they worshipped? Okay, I will begin. Yeah, welcome for this journey. We have been instructed by Allah to not engage in idol worship, to worship other than Allah, the creator of all things, is considered the gravest sin in Islam. But what is idol worship? What are idols? How did they present in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? What are the idols that are worshipped today? What kind of idol worship have I engaged in? What kinds of idol worship do I see in the world around me? And what are the degrees of idol worship that people engage in? These are some of the questions that I want to explore in future posts. And in this post, I want to begin by sharing some of the idols that I have worshipped in my life and how recognizing and smashing those idols has been liberating. So, some of the idols, things, I guess, just want to comment here that to me, I see idols as the material things of this world, whether they are thoughts, actions, concepts, ideas, physical things. All of these I see as like the material things of this world. And to worship these rather than their creator is idol worship. So some idols that I have worshipped include money, my home, the concept of having a career, thoughts, feelings, emotions, physical sensations, romantic love and its societal conceptions, linear time, the provisions that Allah has provided me, society and its norms and structures, books, special humans like intellectuals or romantic interests, philosophical and political ideologies, drugs, the Quran, my breath, my body, sports, self-help ideologies, food, my job, nations, like countries that I aligned with, politicians, celebrities. These are just a few idols I have worshipped. But what is idol worship? So we return to Surah Al-Fatiha. We say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And then we say, all praise is due to Allah, the most merciful and compassionate, the Lord of all things, Master of the Day of Judgment. You alone we worship and you alone we ask for help. And it goes on. And Allah also tells us in another place, do not fear the people, fear me. Not me, but like Allah, And so for me, faith is to praise only the Creator, to serve only the Creator, right? To seek help only from the Creator, to fear only the Creator. And so then idol worship for me, what I understand it, is to serve, to praise, to worship, to try to even protect, and to fear the creation, right? Like, some examples of this is when maybe we pursue money, think that is the thing that will protect us, or pursue career, thinking that is the thing that will protect us. Rather than doing it for the sake of doing good, we like do something for the sake of that thing, even though Allah is the provider, Yeah. So continuing. So often I have found myself caught up either looking up to certain people, fearing people, or even thinking that some people have all the answers. I've done all of this. And like for me, smashing the idols of people is to realize that all the people are like me. We all live, we all die. We know some things that Allah has revealed to us, but most of the matters of the universe will always remain oblivious to us. As in, everyone will know a few things, but no one will know all the things, is what I learned to realize. And what that means for me is to respect each other, but not elevate one person or another above and below, because the Creator is always above and below and all around all of us. And so this is just how I understand it. To not like chase after one person so much, to not serve one person so much, to not fear people, to not be so like wow somebody, to be amazed by someone so much, to realize they all have a creator. So money, we all work to earn money, unfortunately. And if you're young and you have not worked yet, I'm sure you will. And so in this domain, like, I found myself so anxious around my job, anxious that if I don't perform a certain way, that I may lose my job. Maybe some of you are familiar with this sensation, maybe you're not. I would be anxious to get to work on time, worried about my employer surveilling, like monitoring, watching my performance. And I would be spending so much of my consciousness and my energy, like my mind, worrying about my job security, such that I wasn't actually devoting my energy to actually just doing my job well. And I found this to be quite tragic, because when I realized, I thought it was very tragic, because I'm a teacher, and I quite care about my students, and I want to teach them well. And for me, it was a shame to realize that I had spent so much energy trying to serve the school rather than just trying to teach well, for my students, and trying to be a positive presence in the classroom. I was focusing on being a presence that would be appeasing to the school. And this is, to me, this is wrong. Like, why am I focusing on the school so much in the job aspect than the actual teaching? And so for me, serving the Creator, right, like we go back to the Fatiha, you alone we serve, you alone we ask for help. And for me, serving the Creator is to do good work for the benefit of humanity and the earth. And when I focus on just trying to do the things that will help me keep my job, in this case, right, was to focus my attention on serving my employer. To me, this is like a form of idol worship. And it's tragic also, because maybe, and now I'm reflecting on this, like maybe for some people, this is like the thing that people get stuck in because of desperation, of the need, to keep working, to need to preserve the job, even if it's terrible. Yeah. But it's still idol worship, I think, to an extent. Unless your reason for doing it is very clear, you know what I mean? That it's not about the job. Sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to. But anyways, continuing. When I realized that this was my orientation, Allah reminded me that Allah is the one who will provide for me. And my role on this earth, as I understand it, is to be a servant of Allah. That means my role is to just do good work and uphold justice, and trust that Allah will provide for me, because Allah always has. And sometimes Allah will not provide for me, because that's not what Allah has appointed for me at that time, and that's okay, And I guess so what I'm understanding is, if we look at Gaza, for example, it's terrible, right? But maybe this is Allah has said in the Quran as well elsewhere that we will be challenged with crisis, with poverty, and with famine. And these are terrible things. Whether or not for me, what I understand is that whether I, whether I do my job well or not do my job well, Allah will still provide for me the same. And so it's better for me to do my job well, because in the future I might still get hit by a famine. You know what I mean? Maybe the economy will collapse, and that's not in my control. So the best I can do is try to do well in whatever conditions I exist in. That's kind of how I understand this. Yeah, tell me if you disagree. Another form of idol worship that I want to reflect on is the worship of relationships and its social norms. I have been engaged in a romantic relationship for the last 2 years, and my partner and I had been struggling emotionally with the pressure of social norms and expectations of what a romantic relationship is supposed to be. The moral and correct path across the different mainstream cultures generally follows the pattern that the relationship between man and woman, boy and girl, or any binary couple, if you're LGBT, is supposed to be a binary dynamic that is between two roles, two people. So the binary dynamic consists of two kind of opposing and complementary roles. People often ask a couple, who wears the pants in the relationship, right? Like somebody is supposed to wear the pants and somebody the skirt. And there are differences in various cultures, but some conceptions that I had been programmed into include ideas such as the notion that, we should eat together and like spend a lot of time together, and there should be dates, and eventually it should lead to marriage and kids, all this bullshit that we see in social media or mainstream media. And this latter part of my behavior, the marriage and kids, the latter part really dictated a lot of my behavior. When there was conflict or differences of opinions, it caused a lot of anxiety, triggering these fears of abandonment, that, oh my God, the future marriage is in jeopardy, you know what I mean? And so as a result, like, me and my partner would both be very unconfident to share opinions, stories, emotions that would disturb the harmony, and it would lead to a broken future, some unknown future that doesn't really exist. And that's the thing that would be threatened. And so when we realized this recently, together and separately, through reflection and dialogue. And, we realized that, this social concept of marriage, romantic love and marriage, it's just a social concept. It's a creation, and it can be useful if you're doing it consciously and you know what you're doing it for. It can help. But when we realize that we don't want to create expectations or plan for some unknown future that we, that may or may not come to pass, talking about this future that doesn't really exist and trying to defend that rather than just being present. We end up giving so much energy towards an idea of what a relationship should be like. When we stop doing that, then we're able to just be two friends who love each other, who are present, and share romance and intimacy, moment to moment. It was basically, because you have all these ideas swimming around in your head about this future, then we would end up not being in the present moment and realizing that, wow, this person who I care about is right here, right now, and I am grateful that they're with me, and I can then be present with well, how do you feel and how do I feel and what do I want right now, and what do you want? And we don't have to do everything together, and that's okay. And so when I let go of this idea of the relationship as this like abstract concept of relationship as the thing that needs to be defended and protected, then I can do anything I want. I can have the freedom to choose to love, and I'm also free to go. But because I'm free to go and free to do whatever I want, I actually get to choose that I want to be here. And in the words of Ho Chi Minh, there's nothing more precious than freedom and independence. And so, like, what is the point of all this, right? For what purpose? And I guess what I'm trying to do, and have been trying to do for a while, is to let go of attachments to concepts, ideologies, identities, roles that I identify with, And instead of like following some learned pattern of behavior or belief system, defending some future that doesn't exist, I want to be present and ask myself, how do I want to treat the humans around me? I want to notice like the humanity of the hearts of the people around me and be present with their moment and my moment. And so, yeah, like I've started realizing that more and more every day that none of this is going to last forever, and any day could be my last or the last of anyone around me. So peace to you and one love.